Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So, today's video, we are going to basically kind of do a follow up to my last video. If you guys can see, I made a video about it was the subject matter was Vegas and peace dynamic in Ken Porsche, but the video is actually about how the fandom and people who are watching these shows are blindly, maybe not blindly, but seemingly blindly shipping every predestined couple and being fine with what's happening with the characters in that couple. Now, like I said, it wasn't the video wasn't about Vegas per se. It started the conversation of a broader topic that I really wanted to get into. So thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you so much for the comments you guys left and just really leaving what you really felt, how you really felt about it, your points of views. I really do appreciate it. I read all the comments. I try to reply to everybody. I really greatly appreciate it. But today's video, I wanted to kind of jump off of that subject and talk about how these shows will use different tropes to manipulate you into rooting for the couple in the show, for you to think the show as a whole is a good piece of media, for you to kind of make excuses for it. Because that's at the end of the day, BL dramas are not that, they're not profound. They're not adding too much to the romance genre, in my opinion, because they lean on so many tropes so many times in the same way so often, and it's hard to kind of like I can't recommend lots of these shows to my peers to watch on their own because the structure of these shows don't lend themselves to long form format like a episodic series. They make better movies, but they're made in series, and it's hard to recommend some of these shows because they are just drawn out and all these different tropes and cliches that don't make any sense, or maybe the audience member who's watching it is too mature to fall for these types of tropes and whatnot. So I want to talk about those things that make individuals really go ham and go hard for these characters, these shows, and everything about it. Now, before we do that, I want to kind of read some of the comments that were left in that video because you guys were able to articulate how I felt. I've been feeling these feelings forever, it seems. And it just seems like my thoughts and opinions on these couples and my critiques and stuff initially in the beginning, especially with Tar Type and Together, the series, got so much pushback, so much annoyance, so much, everyone was against me and my thoughts and everything, and blindly so. They weren't considering my point of view. Nowadays, it's different. Nowadays, even if you don't agree with me, you're really able to have a conversation with me about it, sharing your points of view, acknowledging my points of view, and it's such a nice space nowadays. But it wasn't like that back in the day. But nowadays, I really really love it. So I want to pick out some comments that were left on that video. Talk about that, and then I'll go into all the tropes that and how they manipulate you into thinking your fave is the best. Okay, so this comment comes from MSS Mercedes. I'm sure that might mean Miss Mercedes, but if it's not, let me know below. They left a comment, and basically it says, I'm gonna paraphrase most of it, but I'm gonna read what it says here, and I'll leave it up on the screen in case you want to pause and read it. Um, it says, once people know that a couple is supposed to happen, as long as the end result is them being together, people are a lot more forgiving of the actions that occur along the way. The writers also know that, and so they will also usually put in some sort of redeeming factor, no matter how small, to make sure it can be justified in the mind of the audience. So I like that comment because this is exactly what happens. It is exactly what happens in all these shows. They will have these pairings, and one half or even sometimes both of the pairings are just awful to each other, awful individuals in some way, shape, or form. And it's used to cause tension, used to cause drama because it's a drama series. Hello, you can't have like rainbows and puppies the whole time, obviously. So they make tension and situations happen to build up drama and kind of do a halfway redemption or a reason behind it, so you can forgive the characters in your mind, so you're okay with them being with their love interest because that's the goal and that's what you want. Yeah, you could be like, oh, that's awful that they did that, but they're like, okay, but well, they apologize, or well, they had a reason to do it, so it's fine. Boys kissing, and then you're okay with it, and that's what happens. And I just, it's hard to go along with that. I'll get into it later, but it's very hard to go along with that, and I'll tell you why once I get into it. But it's just it boggles my mind. I never understood that in the beginning when I was watching Tar Type. All the pushback I was getting because I was like, "Are y'all watching the same show?" I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on here. So there's another comment they left. It's basically following up on the other one. I really like this one. It says here, why people feel so strongly is they take it personally when a character that they support is being seen as morally degraded or unforgivable, and it might be because it feels like anyone criticizing that character is also criticizing them. Which, right, people take it so personally if you don't rock with a show they like, characters they like, couples they like. They are really out for blood, coming for your neck because you're not with it, and it gets intense. They highly doubt people support Vega's actions he's done throughout the show, but if you do support him or the ship, and people are dragging you saying like he's the absolute worst, how could you not hate him? Then people will get extra defensive. That is true. People really I haven't received any of that, but my peers have spoken out against this pairing, and they've been getting dragged left and right. Twitter, on YouTube, it's hard out here in these streets. It really is. I also think it's hard for people to separate not supporting something that's happening in the show with not supporting the show. I can say for myself that this has been one of my favorite shows to come out this year, and not being here for the storyline doesn't mean I'm not tuning in next Saturday. It just means I'm going to have my thoughts and opinions on how it goes down. I don't personally think there's enough room left in this season to redeem Vegas in any real way, so I'm pretty sure they're gunning for season two. But yeah, that basically, I share that same thought process. I can enjoy a show but criticize what's happening in it. I don't think that the show is bad because of anything I might critique. Now, with that being said, real quick, what I've noticed is, I noticed this the other day. One of my peers was like, they don't want to react to, I don't know what show it is. I saw the trailer, but I forgot the name of the show. They don't want to react to it because some people who read the novel said two of the main characters in this storyline are bad people. So the show itself might be bad. Now, they didn't say the novel was bad or anything like that, but because the characters are automatically, I guess, antagonistic or in some sort, or morally gray or whatever the case may be, I'm not sure. They don't want to react or watch the show, which I don't think that's fair. I don't know if, because it's almost like you you can't have a show that's so fluffy and nice, but you also can't have a show if you know there's some bad characters and they're the main ones. I don't know if that's is that a deal breaker for people? Is that do you want to like the main characters? But like in these shows, sometimes the main characters are so awful. So I don't understand why. What makes you feel like you can't react to a show because someone said something about something that happened in a novel? I don't know. But anyways, but this comment here about liking a show but not liking what's happening in the show. That's me. I can like a show and still drag everybody. Why are you? Why are you is awful. Come on, y'all. Let's talk about it. Why are you is awful, but I still enjoyed that show. It was a great time reacting. Great commentary. It was crazy, but I can say that show isn't great. It's not awful, but it's not. It ain't nothing top tier. Nothing top tier. Now, here's another comment that was left about the dynamic between Vegas and Pete and how basically, well, I'll just read it. It's by the user Wes on here, and they said, in my opinion, they should have made the distinction clear. Vegas is a villain, and he will always be a villain. What he does is not right. I feel like they should make their couple less romantic and more of a clearly messed up relationship. and have it end up with Vegas facing consequences for his actions and not being able to redeem himself. At least that way, it can be clear cut villain that we love to hate. And not one people will automatically forget because they're supposed to because they're one of the main couples. I agree. I agree with this statement. In this show, in all the different shows, the characters are seen as bad individuals, right? And in this show in particular, Ken Porsche, Vegas is often horrible. Why not? I'm not saying don't let him have a relationship with Pete. I'm just saying it does not make any sense to make it any remotely cutesy or romantic in any way. Let it be as messed up as it's being showcased right now. That scene with the noodles ruined my life. The scene with the noodles, y'all. It after all that bull crap. I'm not saying he can't get sympathy from Pete, tell his backstory. We can understand why he does the things he does. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, after all that bull crap, we get a little bubbly, goofy scene of him eating of Pete eating noodles. It's supposed to be comedic and and it makes you feel like you want to root for this pairing in a more cutesy, romantic way, and that's not their dynamic. Yes, in the show they put that crap in there to make it that way, but take that part out. Take all the goofy silliness of the show. I'm sick of it. I've told you guys 1,000 times I hate it. It was more so in this episode that really irked my nerves because how they're using it here so you guys can ship this pair together, this toxic dynamic because oh he's not that bad. He feeds him. It doesn't. It's getting weird. I don't like it. I don't like it. And they're tricking you into thinking it's cute. It's okay. He's not a bad guy. He had a bad upbringing. He's not a bad guy. He's showing compassion and giving him food. He's not that bad. Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. I don't understand where that changes because they put the scene in with this goofy even Stevens music. How? Okay, so now I will go over the tropes and cliches that manipulate you or any of us at any given time to really shipping the characters together or really liking the show as a whole. I just think sometimes these BL dramas lean on the tropes so much to the point where that's all they have to do. That's why all the shows are very samey, very familiar. They don't change much of the dynamic because they don't have to because they got you by the chokehold and they know what to do to get you to really buy into the ship, buy into the show, so you can buy the merch, buy the fan meet tickets. They really got you in this. I just want to pinpoint some things and how it does manipulate you and see if you guys agree if you get my point of view on this or if you've seen these certain things. The first thing is the villainous female character or the villainous third party love triangle character. This character, is seen usually when it's the girlfriend type character. She's seen as like very shallow, gold digger, self-serving, rude, sometimes homophobic, and is seen as just awful person. And they use this type of character so you guys can really root for. They're used to cause tension. Obviously, they're used to be a villain to be antagonistic towards the other lead or the couple's happy ending. She's used for that reason, and because of that, it's easy for you to root for the couple and not like her, even though one half of the couple, sometimes both pairs, are awful in some ways, and but that gets ignored because you want the ship to happen. So you're gonna he's the lesser of two evils, I guess. I don't know. And then you'll have the characters if it's a all male love triangle. What they'll do is they'll have our main lead just choose the awful guy because love feelings when the other person is a better option who is more respectful, who is kinder, they can communicate. Everything this person is not, this person is, but this person isn't them, so they can't get with them, which has always been so weird to me. Honestly, yes. the couples are predetermined, so why even have a love triangle? Because it's not going to. It just pads this runtime, and it just causes drama and tension the same way over and over again. We know he's not gonna get with him. He's gonna get with the predestined one. So what's the point? Padding the runtime, of course. But I never found out. I found it weird that sometimes when the other option is a better option, why that person's not considered as in game. Like it's so weird to me. It really would make more sense if that was the case. Now I know sometimes the writing will make it this other third party be similar to the evil girlfriend and have him eventually become evil or exhibit his like nice guy facade goes away. He's actually a jerk. He's actually horrible. And they also do that to manipulate you into shipping the boys together. I just feel like that writing and that trope is so played out and is unnecessary, in my opinion. I feel like they need to put that trope in and actually have him get with the other person. Yep, do it. I dare you. The next trope and cliche, I guess it's more of a visual one where they like to have the characters showcase them feeling something for each other by mostly just falling on top of each other, running into each other, hand touching, face coming so close to each other. You're supposed to be like a oh the feels. Sometimes is warranted because they're like realizing their feelings for each other, but most times it's used to because like if you like someone and you're in the vicinity and it's more of a moment about to kiss, but in these BL dramas, they aren't at that point yet, but they still do it. They're not at the point where they can get the feels and maybe kiss because they're not going to kiss yet because they haven't gotten to a point where it makes sense. Maybe they just met. Maybe they really do hate each other, but they're put in positions where they accidentally kiss because they fell on each other or they're in each other's face closely for some reason, and you get all giddy for it because it's almost an intimate moment. It's a placeholder for that. Now, for me, it's used to make you feel okay without having actual intimate scenes. Lots of times these shows won't have lots of hugging, PDA affection, but they'll do these scenes which echoes it but not really cross that line because either advertisers don't want to see that mess, they're not really okay with the gay because these shows are not for gay folks, so you can't really be as explicit with it. I mean, nowadays it's a little different, obviously, modern dramas are like more intimate now, but back then it wasn't as common, so they used this to kind of do it without, and then you watch and feel like it's okay because you don't have to kiss, you don't have to hug, and you can just feel it. It's implied. Like they manipulate you into thinking it's okay to not showcase that or make you feel like this is such a strong connection. Yeah, they don't like each other, and yeah, they're not communicating, but they're not even touching, but they're close to touching, so it's a strong thing. And I'm like, it's not giving all that. You made up that narrative, and they want you to have that narrative. You're doing what they want you to do, think what they want you to think, but it's not giving that. It's not giving that. It's actually disrespectful to queer folks to have that kind of be what they have to settle on. Again, like I said before, nowadays it's different. It's not as egregious as that, but that's how it used to be. Next trope is, I guess, the kiss. The kiss is more so what people think, which makes people think that the show is good. And what I mean by that is that because usually back in the day, the kiss will be the ending of the series, and it's the what you're waiting for. So you're really, really wanting it. So they drag on their storyline for so long, the will they won't they, to get to that kiss for you to think it was all worth it. They went through hell and high water. They were combative. They fought. They made up. They were nice. They had sweet moments. They made each other's families. They got along, and now they're kissing. Now they're boyfriends. So I love it. It's a great narrative. And most times that's not the case. Sodas, no. Sodas, girl, y'all love sodas, and I understand why. I get it. But at the same time, it's crunchy crunch. And all that push and pull they did and dragged out for so long for that kiss at the end, I guess it was the ending you wanted, but it wasn't all that. It really wasn't. And nowadays, in modern shows, the kissing is running rampant. You nowadays you'll see kissing in the goddamn trailer. Before you ain't see none of that. Nowadays they want you to see the kissing. They want you to know they're going to be kissing, and it happens multiple times. It's not the kiss. It's just one of the kisses. One of the kisses in the show, and automatically because of how passionate the kisses are in these shows, we got tongue biting, biting. Oh my gosh, tonguing, and then lip biting. You know, biting the lip, tugging on it, and because of that, when it does happen, the episode is so good. Cutie Pie. Everyone loves Cutie Pie because the kissing scenes are well done. Have your peers, have you yourself ever watched the show and thought, "Oh, the episode was so great because they kissed and how they kissed." You forget, "Oh, this was a boring episode. This series as a whole is boring. Nothing's happening. Some of the tension is artificial. They just kissed. They made out. They implied sex scenes, so it's great." Have you guys noticed that? It happens all the time, and the show is seen as good, seen as great, and it's really not. It's really not. The next one, Lord, I've talked about this plenty of times on my channel. I'm gonna talk about it again. The "I loved you all along" trope. I hate this trope. Your main lead will be a jerk, will be awful, will be aloof, will be aggressive, antagonistic, and then all of a sudden it's all undone because they loved their love interest the whole time. All these years, all these months, when they first saw them. I hate it. First of all, the character in the show is manipulating Homeboy. Sometimes it's not manipulating, they just it rewrites their wrongs in a way. You forgive them for everything they've done because they loved you this whole time. Love conquers all, I guess that's the narrative for this trope. But Together is one where he manipulated him into doing all these things, and it was very. I was not with that shit because of that. Once they found out he was loving him the whole time, and he was acting like a jerk and very like how he was, Sadawa and Tai, like that pair, my lord. I hate it. I hate it. Tonhone was so wild for that. That it made no sense. That's what really was weird. It didn't make any sense. How all of a sudden you've been homophobic and all these things, and you're hating, your love interest loves you, and you know that, and you're telling me you loved him, and everything. His crush on you was obvious to you, and you were going along with it, and you were loving it, but you ain't saying that this whole time. And then he finally confessed to you. You shut him off. You ran away. You were upset. You threw a fit. You're telling us that your daddy and your mama moved you because you liked him, but when they met him, they didn't say nothing like that. They weren't acting like that towards him. They weren't. The reason they moved was him, and they didn't see. It's weird writing that doesn't make any sense. That's why that trope doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I don't like it. I'm like, why are you writing this into the show at all? Star My Mind did it too, which it was so weird. You've been a jerk this whole time, most times, and all of a sudden now, "Oh, I loved him this whole time," but you've been putting him through crap. He's mad at you. You're not communicating. You're being rude. And he hates that you do that, but you loved him, and now it's okay. And now you're gushy and ooh all over him now that he knows that you liked him this whole time, and it's fine. It is odd. It is so odd to me, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm like, why are we doing this to these characters? Let them grow to love the person throughout the show and keep it at that. Why we have to? They've been loved them from the jump, and that's it. It is so weird to me. It is so weird to me. All right, I'm gonna end this video here. It's pretty long. I do have some more, but I guess I'll do in a follow video. But I want to know your feedback. Maybe you asking, let me know some tropes and cliches that kind of manipulate you, your peers, anyone else into thinking that this show is great, that the couple is great, or anything in between. Let me know below. I'm very interested in seeing your feedback. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.